Hello again everyone, this is Richard Micro Grinder with the latest in my new series where I shadow people's play in videos that they have been kind enough to send me. This video has been sent in by Reddit poker user Bouncing Souls, and it looks like we're going to be having a one tabling session on Bet Online, which is a site I've never seen before. So let me just adjust the play speeds so we can get through it all. And we should be good to go. It looks like we're going to start off by maybe hovering over the call with his King 9 suited. I don't know if this has anything to do with reads we may or may not have on this player, but typically I don't particularly like King 9 suited to defend out of position without the initiative. It could be also that this D shift character is a major whale, which is why Bearing Souls maybe wanting to call, but just based on the information we've got here, I don't particularly like the call very much. I don't think we're going to make money with it. So we've flopped a good shot. And we've been lucky enough to get a free card. The turn donk. What do I think about the turn donk? Well, unfortunately, our symbol players have folded. When both players check that flop, D-Shiv can still have something because he's supposed to check to the raiser. Now he's a player that's limped into the pot, so we can't be sure how good or bad he is at poker. He's probably not going to be great because he's limping into pots, but that doesn't mean to say he doesn't know to check to the raiser, or he may just be passive and just be checking anyway with a hand, with a hand that intends to call bets. So when we donk the turn, I think we expect to get a lot of folds from the raiser, because if he had a value hand, he would almost certainly bet a flop that wet. I think we're going to get folds from the raiser, but how are we going to get too many calls from D-Shiv? I think we're going to get enough calls probably. We're only betting half pots, so we're not asking them to fold a monster with that kind of bet size. We're just trying to get people to fold maybe some ace highs, maybe some small pairs, maybe some better kings, who knows? King, queen, yeah, probably going to fold. King 10, maybe not as likely to fold. But this keeps coming up every time I do a video. But yeah, I don't mind the donk bet, but I think the call pre-flop's probably not good. But yeah, we picked the pot up, so I guess that's something. I don't love that complete. I really don't like it. Why don't I like the complete? It's just King 6 offsuit. It's a pretty miserable hand. Yeah, the button's just called, and is King 6 off ahead of his range? Yeah, almost certainly. But what do we hoping to do? What are we hoping to get? What are we hoping to hit with King 6? We're getting 5 to 1 and our money for a limp. But I mean, we flop a king, we bet the pot, and we bet slightly over bet the pot, and we got two pretty quick folds. It's going to be hard to get value with any hand we flop there, unless we flop a two pair type hand, or maybe trip sixes, something like that. We could maybe get some small value. But basically, King 6 is a pretty poor hand, and I would just be, even though the button has just limped into the pot, I would just be folding it. And if I wasn't going to fold it, I would almost certainly rather raise it than complete with it, because at least when we can play the hand with the initiative, we can get the button to commit some dead money to the pot that he's just going to fold post flop when he misses. So I think I prefer folding most of all. If I'm going to play the hand, I prefer to raise it, and I think completing is the worst of our three options. I don't mind the fold there with pocket twos. I think we can definitely call for sure. I think when we hit sets at 2-0, we're going to be able to extract a decent amount of value from anyone who has any kind of pair. So I think we can definitely call. I think I would probably at 2-0, especially when we have possibly a passive player in D ship in the pot because we've seen a limp already, who may call the race too. I think we have a profitable call. But yeah, don't blame me for folding either. It's certainly not a bad fold. I think I would just prefer to call. Now, do we see bet this board or not? Well, it's a slight moot point now, which we've been dunked into. I wouldn't be a huge fan of c-betting on this board. I think, excuse me for yawning, I'm very sad. I don't think we're going to get too many folds on this board. We're not going to get any pairs to fold, for example. When we can get ace high and king high to fold, we can get them to fold on the turn on the river if they check a game. I don't think we need to be betting this flop. I prefer to see 2 checks before I start. So like c-bet bluffing on and these type of spots. And now this guy donked into us. Yeah, it's a small donk bet. And we have 2 overcards. We have a pretty weak backdoor flush draw. We have a backdoor straight draw 2. So we could call. I think I probably, yeah, in fact, I think I prefer calling to folding now, come to think of it. I wouldn't raise. I would just call this bet. I would hope to hit a 9, a 10, a jack, a queen, or a heart. I think there's a lot of good cards that come in the turn, and maybe such a small bet, I certainly wouldn't fold. Right, now here I think, when he bets 8 cents on the turn on the king, I think it's a spot where we can consider bluff raising. He bet 5 cents on the flop, he's only betting 8 cents on the turn, and the king shouldn't really hit his range. If he had a real hand there, he would have almost certainly bet more than 8 cents. So we're going to make some loose floats on flops. We need to be attacking weakness on turns, and even though he's bet, I still believe he's made quite a weak bet, and we can have some king action in our range, so we could have easily called that flop with just ace king, king queen, those type of hands. I mean, we called it the queen 10, so we can certainly have ace king and king queen in our range too. And I think the critical point is that he's bet a lower percentage of the pot on the turn than he has on the flop, which suggests that he doesn't really like his hand very much. And we turbo folded. We folded really quickly, which leads me to believe that perhaps our player here isn't really thinking too much about opponent's range. He's thinking more about his own hand. And he's just thought, well, my hand doesn't improve, I have to fold. But if we'd have thought about what sort of hand strengths make that kind of bet size, I think we could have found a better player than just turbo folding. I probably would have gone for a raise there. One thing that Bearing Souls does appear to be guilty of here is acting too quickly. He doesn't appear to be putting an awful lot of thought into his decisions. I mean, look at this guy again. He's just come with his silly 2-cent bets. Big Click is definitely probably going to be a pretty big fun player. He's going to be absolutely somebody we can be targeting to try and get his money before somebody else does. He appears to be in a lot of pots. He doesn't appear to know too much about bet sizing, and yeah, it's good to have possession or something like that. But going back to our friend's play here, I mean, again, I don't really understand why we've donk bet that board. I don't mean to be rude, and I don't mean to rag on you, bearing souls, but you've actually taken your time there, which is a positive. Then you've come up with I don't really know what the donk bet's meant to achieve. Sure, we have a good shot. Do we think we're going to get him to fold many better hands? Yeah, probably. We can maybe get him to fold some pairs that are worse than a 9. So we maybe get him to fold pocket 8s and down. But I even think he peels pocket 8 to pocket 7s. So I think we're really only getting him to fold the lowest of pairs. And he probably isn't c-betting low pairs in this board too often. So he's not really going to prevent us from realising our equity against his low pairs too often, I wouldn't have thought. And donk betting, I don't think it really achieves that much. And now we put ourselves in a position of turn where we pick up an open ender. We picked up a pure flush draw, so now what are we going to do? We're going to bet again. We're going to check and hope to get a free card. We're going to check call if we bet small. I think we started to blow to pot with the donk bet that doesn't really achieve much, and put ourselves in a tricky spot in the turn where I feel kind of we're obliged now. We picked up some decent equity rather than just a gut shot, so carry on firing. But we're probably still not going to get a king to fold. We may get a 9 to fold. He could have a flush now, who knows? But yeah, I'm inclined to bet again here, but I'm not in love with the donk bet. And we're moving with the virtual nuts, so I would like to see us put a reasonably good size bet. I like the bet size there. I do like the river size. But yeah, didn't really like our flop and turn line too much. We should be isolating here, hopefully. We do. Prefer to see a slightly bigger isolation raise just to try and encourage the blinds to fold. Yeah, the main thing is we put the isolation raise in. I wouldn't c-bet here. Do not like that c-bet again. What are we hoping to achieve with this c-bet? Everyone's folded. I don't think anyone's folded a better hand than us there. I think everyone's just folded there. Everyone's folded worse hands. When we're betting, we need to be having a purpose of the bet. Are we betting to get value? I mean, it's pretty hard to get value on that board with ace-3. You aim with 6-7. Possibly get value from that. We get value from some cut shots, maybe some wheel draws, like ace-2, ace-4, maybe 6-4 too if someone's in there with it. So we can get some value, but it's thin. It's really thin. I think we're going to get called by better hands, probably more often than we're going to get called by any draws that they may have. So yeah, just think about why you're betting. Think about what your bet's meant to achieve. If that's for value there, it doesn't work very well. It works better than it does as a bluff though, because as a bluff no one's folded a better hand. So yeah, thin value there. I like thin value. I really do like thin value. But I like thin value on rivers. I think when we're starting to see bet bottom pair on flops for value, I think we end up just putting ourselves in a bad situation later in the hand when people stick around with us. When they all fold, yeah, sure, it's fine. But when people stick around, we're usually in a pretty bad spot equity-wise. And I do hope we get to compliment your play sometime in it, Baron Souls, because I do really appreciate people sending me videos. But I wouldn't be fair if I wasn't honest in my appraisal in them. I would like to see us really bomb this turn. Yes, I like that. That's a decent sized bet. And even though the board's paired the river, I would like to see us bet again. And we do. It could be because we're on double speed, but I'm a little bit concerned by just how quick it acted. It could be the double speed thing. So I'll give you the benefit of the doubt for now. Again, we've made a pretty small isolation raise. I would see our isolation raise being a little bit bigger. But at least we are isolated, which is the most important thing. Missing the isolation is worse than getting the size wrong for sure. I hope we don't defend the 3-6 off here. We didn't, which is good. I'm only saying I didn't expect you to defend it, but because we have shown a propensity to just complete in small pots and what have you, obviously I'm not sure just how far you take that. I'm pretty pleased to see that you didn't do it. I do not like that limp. Let's talk about this for a second. I understand why we're doing it. We've got an ace, we want to see a flop, but we really should just be raising or folding from the blinds, especially with an ace. We almost certainly have the best hand. We can definitely raise and expect to get called by worse. And although that is thin, we can probably still value bet. We flop an ace. We can probably bluff pretty effectively because people defend too wide blind versus blind a lot of the time, and they're going to miss a lot of the time. So I still think it's a much more profitable open than it is a limp. I think limping, letting him in with any two cards. If he's got a hand like 8-4 offsuit here, we'll just let him overtake us for free. And that's not a good thing to do. We should definitely be raising from the small blind with a hand like ace-2. I think folding it's too tight, and I think calling with it's too weak. So yeah, we should just be raising from the blind. We shouldn't ever really just be completing the small blind when it folds to us, under any circumstances. And now we've made a pretty weak check call on the flop with no real hope. And again, it's another we're really playing this hand quite badly, I'm afraid. We're not giving any thought to it. He's just checked with bet. I mean, fair enough, she's bet 2 cents. We probably need to call. He's bet 4 on the turn. I'm not sure about the call there because we need to be bluffing quite a lot, and even his bluffs are going to have decent equity against us. So I would imagine if he is bluffing, you'd hope he'd have some kind of draw. So yeah, I mean, I just think we've pretty much butchered this entire hand. I mean, no offense by that, but we've just limped in and we've just check called 2 bets with just a really weak ace high. I mean, who knows? We might win, but I don't like it, and we did win. So even though I've said I don't like our line and the fact we won, please don't let that result make you think that you played the hand fine, because yeah, we won the pot, but our line there was really quite poor, I thought. I mean, we're just kind of bluff catching with not even a particularly good bluff catcher. Again, I think we've bet too quick on the river there. I think I like your line. I like the fact we've gone bet. Right, let's talk about this now. We've raised before the flop. And we've gone bet, and we've potted the river. And someone said, I don't care that you potted the river, I'm all in. And every single draw's got there in the river. King Queen of Clubs being the most obvious one, but King Queen's got there. I don't think he has King Queen as often as he just has a flush here. But look at it from his point of view. We've raised before the flop, and we've gone bet. We've made a 2/3 turn bet, and we've made a pot size river bet. And he still said, I don't care. I'm shoving over you here. I think this is just not going to be a bluff very often at all. I'm struggling to see what bluffs he can have. And again, as usual, I haven't watched his video beforehand. So it may turn up with a bluffing and I might look like a complete idiot. But even though we've rivered 2-pair here, where some 2-pairs are in terms of absolute strength, it's a strong hand. In terms of relative strength on this board, on this run out with the line we've taken, I think we have to make a really, really disciplined fold here. And if he's bluffing as well, just because congratulations to him, he's done really well. He's took us up a strong hand, but I would not call here because I just think we're going to see a flush nearly all of the time. And if we're not going to see a flush, we're going to see a straight, I would imagine. Good fold. Well done. It's difficult. It is hard to make them folds, but I really do believe that's, making these folds is what separates somebody with a good win rate from somebody with a bad or moderate win rate. So yeah, I mean, you could tell you didn't like it. You hovered over both options for a while, but in my opinion, you found a good fold there. And you played the hand perfectly. I wouldn't. I wouldn't have board I would go out of my way to see, but I think we can sometimes check call there because I think the guy will just auto stab with a lot of it. If he's just got a lone spade in his hand, he might stab there. Betting again, yeah, we might get into fold some slightly better hands, but any better hands he's got than us there that folds probably don't contain a spade. And so if you don't contain a spade, we're not going to be in terrible shape against his better hands that are folding there. So I think we can just check. I think checking's probably better than betting. But having said that, I do like your aggression. I do like the fact you are aggressive. Way too many players in the micro stakes are just a little bit too passive. I'd rather see people who are too aggressive and try and help them tone their aggression down. Then that's a way easier adjustment to make than it's really poor complete. This complete is, I don't mean to be rude, but it's dreadful. It is absolutely dreadful. This hand is rubbish, except we're getting 7-1 pre-flop. But 7-1 to hit what? It's awful, awful peel. Some people may disagree with me here, saying that we're getting 7-1, we should call any two. I just don't believe that. I don't mean somebody might be able to make a mathematical case for it. But I just don't think we need to be doing it. Because now we get this kind of board, and we may bet, we may check call a bet, and it's just going to be hard for us to ever win a decent pot with 3-9 offsuit. Really hard. I would just take the hand off and I would just fold. I would just relax, watch what goes on, and just use it to focus on what's happening with other people's limping ranges without having to think about my own hand. And now we're betting this turn, and guessing it's with a very thin value against an 8. And that's kind of what happens there. We've got some guy who's basically played his hand really quite badly, and he's got maximum value from us, and from a hand that we shouldn't even have been in the pot with. And yeah, these are the sort of mistakes that are going to happen all the time when we complete with really, really, really dreadful hands like 9-3 off. There's just no reason to play it, so just you need to stop doing that. There's no reason to be involved there. So it ended up costing us maybe 15 blinds. And when you think if your win rate's only 5 blinds 100, that's 100 hands you've just wasted there by playing a hand like 9-3 off. Wow, this limp again. That's a really poor limp. Well, any limp really is not that good. But with a hand as poor as Queen 9 off, if we're going to play the hand, if you want to play Queen 9 off from the middle position, which I might want to do at soft tables, where there's enough bad players at the table, at least coming for a race with it. We shouldn't be limping into pots. It's kind of, you're a confusing player right now because you're decent. You've got decent aggression post flop. I've seen you make some reasonably thin isolation raises, which I don't have a major issue with. But then I've also seen you complete some poor hands and then just limp. But it's quite a poor hand. Queen 9 offsuit. It's a poor hand. Yeah, it can mix some straights. It can flop some top pairs. But it's a poor hand. If we're going to play it, we should be raising with it. We need to cut out this limping and this completing. It's going to be hurting us for sure. I wouldn't be surprised if we bet this flop, and again, if we do bet it, what for? What's the purpose of this bet? We've got bottom pair, moderate kicker. I guess we can get caught by some hard draws. I guess we can get caught by some straight draws. But we're way more likely if we get called to get called by somebody with a weak ace or a strongish 10. And even if somebody does have just a hard draw, they're drawing pretty well against us. But we've only got bottom pair. So, yeah, I mean, don't really see. And we've overbet again. We've bet 8 cents into 6. We really don't like this bet very much at all. I think when we get called, we're going to be behind most of the time. Or we're just going to make people fold worse hands. And again, another, we'll have that limp. This limp is really, it's worse than the last one. I really don't mean to rag on you because I am grateful. I am really grateful that you sent me the video. But you're playing quite poorly. You were limping into pots with really poor hands in from really bad positions. What's going to happen here now? We're going to usually go to flop 5 or 6 ways. We're never going to flop that well. We're going to sometimes flop a king, sometimes flop a 9, put some money in, sometimes win, sometimes lose. It's just not a winning play. It's not a play that a winning player makes. No, we just be folding the king 9 off under the gun. I mean, I don't know any player that would even raise that under the gun, never mind limp with it. There's no nice way to put it. It's just really poor. And with nothing much can come from it. So yeah, please just stop doing this as soon as you can. And that's when min raise and we're going to end up, while we fold. Yeah, I'm struggling to find words for. We limped under the gun. Everyone's in the pot, and then we folded, getting 10-1. Which yeah, is probably the king 9 is probably not in great shape there. But if to limp it under the gun to fold it to a min raise, I think that's even worse than limping it in the first place. Yeah, I think we've got a lot of work to do with bearing souls. Again, it's another really poor complete. I really don't mean to be rude to you here at all, but you really played really quite poorly in this video, and you just got such a lot to learn. I mean, I'm not sure if you're new to poker, if you've been playing poker a while, but your game needs a lot of work. And if you've been playing quite a while and you've been trying to learn from free articles online, I think this is a prime example of why it's really quite good for newish players or microstakes players, even though coaching is quite expensive relative to the amount of money you're playing for. I think getting a coach, working with someone like me, is going to help you get out of all these bad habits really quickly, and it's actually going to end up saving you money. If you were to take a 5-session package with me, pay $100 for your $110 for your 5-session package, that's a lot of money relative to the stakes you're playing to get it. It's 50 buy-ins, but it's only $100 and $110. And I would imagine the way you play at the minute, you will be a losing player. It's not going to take you too long to lose $100. And on top of that, if you were to enter a winning player, if all of a sudden you go from being the sort of person who's going to lose $100 in maybe a couple of months to being somebody who makes $100 in a couple of months, that's a $200 swing in 2 months for your $100 investment. And on top of that, you get to take your new knowledge and your improved play forward again and again and again. So the $100, $110 that you spent going with someone like me would just pay for itself over and over and over. You're going to feel that you're going to struggle to develop your own game by just doing whatever it is you've been doing before now. It's clearly whatever it is you've been doing to study and to learn the game and to try and get better. It's not working because you are playing really quite poorly. And I take no pleasure in saying that. I take no pleasure whatsoever, but I do pride myself on my honesty with people, and there's no nice way to put it. You have not really played too well this session. You've done some things okay, but you've certainly made a lot of quite poor mistakes. Again, it's another really poor call. We're not putting any thought into it. We just snap call them there. I guess we need to bet here. But, again, I would rather 3-bet or fold that hand pre-flop. If I thought somebody's opening too wide, I would 3-bet it. If they're not opening too wide, we have no real business calling with a hand as weak as King 4. So, another limp. We need to stop. I mean, I'm not going to keep going on about it now because I've talked about it. But then we just bet that flop. I'm not really sure why. We've had no plan for the rest of the hand. We just took a stab, and then we folded. We're just clicking buttons. We don't appear to have any kind of strategy. We don't appear to have any kind of right. I mean, I'm lost for words with the 9-4 limp. It's I feel really harsh. I really do, but this is quite possibly the worst I've seen somebody play that I've coached or videos I've reviewed. You are really demonstrating some really huge flaws in their fundamental understanding of how poker works. My advice to you right now is, if you're playing just for fun and you enjoy doing it and you can afford to maybe lose $20-30 a month, but you're enjoying yourself and you don't really have that much motivation to improve and get better, by all means, just take your recreation from it and enjoy your poker. If you have any serious ambitions of becoming a winning poker player, you need help, and you need it pretty fast, because right now what you're doing is just hemorrhaging money. And I accept it's 2-0, so you're not hemorrhaging like money in a dangerous way. But in terms of like, are you anywhere near being a profitable poker player? Unless this video is just one big troll, which I very much doubt it is, and I mean no offence by that, but that's how poor you played. I almost feel like it's a good player playing deliberately badly. Your game needs an absolute ton of work. So please, if you do want to talk to me about working with me, please do get in touch again, because you're the sort of player that I really do like getting stuck into, because we can make such a lot of easy, quick games, and if you don't get help from somewhere, I can't imagine you're going to find the help you need for free online anytime soon. For anyone who's watching this video that thinks I've been a little bit harsh on our subject here, please don't think this is in my nature. It really isn't in my nature. It's hard for me to continue watching, knowing that I'm probably not going to find too many more positive things to say in the next, like, maybe 5 minutes or so before the end of the video. I hate not having anything positive to say to somebody. We did play the Jack 9 pretty well earlier. I think we played another couple of spots okay, but I was really struggling to pick too many positives out here. It's a shame, because because I'm sure the guy who's submitting the video is a nice guy, and he probably isn't going to enjoy listening to the criticism that he's receiving. But hopefully he'll get something from it, and it will help him. I genuinely do hope that. Don't like the C-bet at all. Again, it's just a hopeless C-bet. We're never going to be able to barrel any turn card. There's not a single turn card in the deck we can hope to barrel. When we get called, we're always drawing close to dead, and we're going to C-bet. I like to C-bet bluff with at least with some kind of equity. We don't have any there. I didn't like the race from the small blind over a few limpers to begin with, and then I hated the C-bet. So yeah, I mean, your game just needs a lot of work, and you probably need to be getting that help quite quickly. Let's hope we can end the video on a flourish. So we make a hand and we play it well. And unfortunately we haven't with the hand. Completely fine with the check fold there. I would have been a little bit fine with the C-bet because at least we have some equity. We don't have equity against the aces, obviously. We have equity against his typical calling range of our C-bet there. So yeah, I mean, it just looks like we're not putting an awful lot of thought into our play. That's what it looks like. It looks like we've got no plans for hands. We've got no ideas what to do. We're just betting just to try and win pots without really considering what parts of the ranges we're trying to get to fold, or if we're value betting, what parts of the range are we hoping to induce some light calls from. It just looks like we're just clicking bet without putting an awful lot of consideration into why we're betting. We've already covered the limping. Since we're not a fan of it, really not a fan. But I don't expect that to change for the duration of the video, because why would it? It's not like we can discuss it mid-session and we can stopping doing it straight away, but you need to stop doing it for your next session. The next session you play, if I could leave you one piece of advice from this session, the next session you play, just try and play a session where you either just raise or fold before the flop. Unless to unraise under the gun you have some kind of like pocket sevens, pocket eights. But typically when it's folded to you, just play raise or fold before the flop. Just get used to just opening for a raise every time. And stop defending these really poor hands. Yeah, we just donked here again. We've been called in two spots, now we just have to fold, and we're just putting too much money in pots with really poor hands post flop without really much of a plan of how to win the hand, or even much hope of winning the hand, unless our bet just works there and then we get some folds. It just seems when you flop a piece, you just want to start betting, irrespective of whether you flop top pair, bottom pair, or what have you. So we are coming up to the end of the video. I do apologise if you have been offended by anything I've said in this video. I do apologise if you feel like I've betrayed you by being so critical. Everything I've said has been said with the very best of intentions. I hope it does encourage you to go out and really start working on your game. And I hope that you find success in the future, either with me or with somebody else, or by getting a training set subscription. If you intend to continue playing poker and you have any ambitions of making it as a winning player, you're going to have to work really hard. And I hope you find me and do that work with me. But if not with me, I hope you find somebody suitable and you do it with them. And I hope you have I wish you all the best. I wish you all luck in the world. Thanks very much for watching. Thanks for the submission. Bye for now.